Hey, thanks for joining us at the hashtag IMOMSOHARD podcast.
Yes, we're at the podcast right now. Are we podcasting?
We are podcasting.
Because it's hard to tell because right now we're both wearing cardigans like we're 90 and we have blankets over our laps.
I'm on board with it.
I'm okay. It's so cozy. It's nice.
so cozy.
Like,
it's cold outside.
Anyways, we are podcasting, but I'm going to live it up right now. I'm going to be cozy.
Yeah, it's been a long week. I don't know about you ladies, but we're in the holiday zone.
Yep, we're in there. Everybody knows what that means. You got to any free moment that you have is
You're panicked.
Is dedicated to oh my God, let's just talk about all the things. Can we just talk? Because I need to take stock. I think you and I are the hosters of parties.
I agree.
I don't know that many people throw parties.
Well, I love our Halloween, or we do have a Halloween party. You do Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Now Thanksgiving has become a 2-night affair.
That's what this is about. This episode is a little bit about that.
And this year we're not going to do our Christmas probably because of the renovation. It's not going to be done. And if it is done, it'll be done on the 24th, which is fine. But doesn't give you any time to prep for a party. We're having a different experience right now. And I think everybody's still feeling a little bit of that weird, pandemic depression a little bit.
Yeah.
And everybody doesn't know how to behave or know what to do with themselves. And so we're all like, oh, all right, do we go to a party? Can we? Not that everybody's afraid to be out in the world, but I do think there's those people. Which feels a little weird too, but I just feel like we're all not sure how to behave yet. We've all got a little PTSD from being trapped with our families.
Let me give you a party how-to that I think everyone can understand. You take your RV to a tailgate pregame.
Yes.
Okay, it's exactly like that, only you don't have to put everything in the RV. You just have it at your house. You can have everybody bring a bag of chips and just tell them, you don't have to wear your favorite sports team. You could wear...
Correct.
Something else. You could wear a Christmas sweater. You could wear a New Year's sweater. Something like that. Let's call it a party.
Let's
do this.
Yes. I know I miss parties too, but it's been a really weird, holidays are weird for people.
I remember what I was going to say.
Okay, good.
We were missing, we'll get the details on it, from the regular tradition of Kristin and the newer tradition of Dewey and Terry coming. Sometimes we have Sarah, who's Colin's mom.
Yep.
We had Ron's dad came.
We are definitely increasing our boomer space.
Oh my God. Dream team in the kitchen. He was in there. He usually does it at home for Ron's extended family. And then I had my mother-in-law there who is a machine in the kitchen. Yeah. It was the dream team in the kitchen this year.
They don't mess around.
Ron and I were 20 years ago we could have thought of clean as we go and we never did it. Never crossed our mind. We just have this big comic stack of dishes at the end. She's just cleaning stuff. She never stopped moving.
Yeah.
Anyways, Ron's dad, as he leaves, I go, well, come back next year. He goes, I was thinking maybe I'd like to.
I know. I'm telling you, you're really it's the hot tip is your house on Thanksgiving. I think my parents' friends are going to be like, is it fine if the neighbors from down the street?
You know what? It's nice. It's laid back. There's enough people that you don't get sucked into one conversation. It's not, it was fun. It had to be all outside.
I know, I was bummed.
Well, the Wednesday night is the party that is really fun for us.
It was really fun, but things took a turn. So my parents had a plan to come out.
Yeah.
And I knew about this plan from the day after Thanksgiving last year.
Yeah.
Because my parents, and listen, they do not feel that I give them answers that make them feel settled because they asked me the same question 25 times. And do I think that they're getting up there in age and forgetting stuff? No, I don't. I think that they don't listen to me. So literally my dad was like, now listen, the plan is to go to Jen's, right? And I'm like, yeah, Dad, I've literally said that 30 times. I don't understand. The party's not going away.
They wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth.
You.
Yeah.
Because you send one email and then it's crickets. And I'm God, you could have done this 4 months ago.
Well, when you told me that, I was like, oh, maybe because it is to plan a trip and not feel like you're officially invited. But you know me, I'm not a great planner and I was
not send the damn email, or I'm going to send it from your email myself, and I'm going to be surly with them. Be like, hey, Jen, here, your daughter's told you 50 freaking times you're going to a party. Just say yes and be done with it, all right?
That doesn't sound like Jen.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like Jen. That sounds like our asshole daughter, Kristin, that's real difficult to be around.
I confirmed with them via text that it was
50
happening,
texts?
and then 4 to 5
Follow-up text.
4 to
on
5
you.
weeks before I sent out the official.
Yeah, as you should in
the
regular time.
Okay, so but
So the bummer of it all is on the podcast. You probably heard me talking about how Jen and I are gonna have to run interference with our boomer in-laws just so because we have so many fun and diverse friends that we don't need
and
them
we
saying,
did.
we don't.
I did. Don't worry about that. It's a whole other podcast.
No, that's this podcast.
Okay.
Dippy. We knew there was a lot of prep for our parents. Like, you know what? You're in California. We have a lot of different kinds of friends. There's a lot of things going on. Nobody feels like the way you bond with somebody is by telling them a joke of the from the minority group to which they are a part. Like that is not how you make friends. So
No.
don't go in and think that's the way that's not a pickup line to most people.
Yeah.
You know?
Without throwing anybody under the bus, I said these words a couple times. Everybody has a different perspective and a different opinion. No one really cares what anyone else's are, and life is too short and we're all too old to have to listen to them.
You know what I also think it is? I think once they get past a certain age, they don't care about if the person that's also the same age as them is different. They are all on the same team because they are simply that age. So they think just the younger is ridiculous.
Well,
so
I
they're
said
all
those
together.
words to younger and older people because it
I did
doesn't
too.
matter, you guys. It doesn't matter. Like, there's somebody who's like they're like 10% really wants to get into it, and you
Yeah.
got to shut that shit down.
I shut it down for everybody. I was like, I don't care if you agree or disagree. Do not talk about politics. I do not want to find you in corners of the house like, oh yeah, did you hear about it?
Yeah.
No, my radar is on. I will find you. I will shut it down.
Also, the hardcore people really like to trap you into politics. So you just think you're talking about a family member, but all of a sudden that family member is reflective of an entire voting populace.
And then you're like, how did this go so fast? How did this go from this to that so quickly?
You know how I know you don't want to hear my opinion? Because I don't want to hear yours.
I
So
don't want
let's
to hear any
just
opinions.
be
I want to talk
polite.
about turkey and holidays and
I
bullshit.
want to eat. And
I want
you
to
know
eat
what?
and drink and be merry.
Yes.
Well, anyway, I felt really bad because on the podcast prior to that Wednesday Thanksgiving, my dad, which was a bummer because in the podcast I was making a lot of jokes about how, family's difficult and we're going to be running a house full of new rules for
Yeah.
them and they're just going to be making fun of me the whole
You
time.
want to make your daughter feel real guilty right away.
Yeah. My dad, a couple days before they were to leave, and they don't want to tell me anything because I think they find me bossy and demanding. Weird. And so they didn't tell me this, but my dad was having what looked like flu symptoms, and he was very, very sick. And then finally, because I don't know if you know about this, but people over a certain age do not feel the need that they have to go to the doctor.
Especially the male type of people.
The male type of people do not feel that a doctor is necessary. At one point, my dad, who is 75 and is a young 75,
Yeah.
was feeling heart pains, chest pains. And so that's like ER 101.
Yeah,
you get to skip in the front of the line. You get to buy
Yes.
Taylor Swift tickets first and foremost, right there and then.
Yeah. Do not wait in queue.
Do not
Yeah.
wait in queue.
Make your way directly to
Go the fuck to the doctor.
electrocardiogram
Not my
machine.
dad.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? I had chest pains and I just thought a ginger ale would help.
Ooh, Dewey, if that worked.
No, of course it didn't work. So he was very sick. He had pains. He also had lower gut pain. So he just was like a mess. And then my mom finally took him to the ER and he collapsed in the ER. And then when he
Jeez,
fell, there was a bit of a cardiac episode that they had to figure out. So there was a lot. And then what it came to be is that he had a terrible yucky gallbladder and they had to remove his gallbladder. So he was just as sick as he's ever been. And the longest flight I've ever been on in my life was that phone call from my mom till I flew back to Nebraska. And between those two moments, knowing that I couldn't fly out till the next morning
Oh,
and
yeah.
going to my kids' game and people talking to me. And I could not remember I couldn't make a full sentence. I remember being like I forgot this one couple's divorced. I was like, oh,
Well, hey,
you know,
I mean, in your defense, I mean, it's easy to do.
it's
not
fairly
really
new.
your
It's not-
problem.
yeah. So, but I got on a flight and, I feel like in situations like this, and I think you would agree, I tend to be very, well, I'm trying to keep myself together. So I kind of look at everything around and I'm taking in every piece of information around me. And I was like, fuck, man, this makes me very sympathetic and empathetic to people on airplanes because not every person's going to a
Party.
They're
Yeah.
not. Most of them are going for work.
Yeah.
A lot of them are going to see family, but some of them are going,
'Cause they're
coming and
scared to
going because
death.
they're
Yeah.
scared or they're sad or somebody passed or like.
Yeah.
So, my flight was really just felt like the longest
Yeah.
flight of my life.
Yeah.
Then I got to my dad's. Finally, with planes, trains, and automobiles, after like 14 hours of travel, I got to my dad's hospital room. Big shout out to Brian East for all the care that they gave to my dad, which was
Lincoln,
fantastic.
Nebraska, nice.
And Dewey was what word am I looking for, Jen? When someone is not willing to participate in the plan that was given to them, his bedside manner was not the nicest at times. Fair though, and that's what nurses, I know. He just was. It was just such a bummer. He was so disappointed to not fly out.
I will. So I feel like I understand Dewey in this
Of
way
course.
as I understand my friend, which is like when you get scared, you get into defense mode. You
I get mean.
you get into like protect,
Yeah.
kind of like. And so I think when you don't go to the hospital a lot, you don't go to doctors a lot, you start to get very skeptical of what people are telling you. And also you think, maybe I can ignore this away.
Yeah.
And I think he thought maybe he could just ignore it
a
away.
giant organ failing in his
Yeah,
body, and then it
yeah.
would just go away with ginger ale.
Yeah.
That feels like the
That-
right move.
Nope. Eventually it doesn't like shrivel up and you poop it out.
No,
it's not like
it's surgery,
Yeah.
And the thing is like, again, my head was just like, this is a floor full of rooms with people in it that are sick. And like, I don't like hospital rooms. I always say I'm not having surgery unless I come out looking 10 years younger.
Yeah.
And so sitting in that hospital room, I found that hospital time is such an interesting thing. Like, I had one job to do, and that was to care for him. And I just tried to make things light because there were a lot of doctors coming in. There were a lot of question marks, and it was a terrible, scary moment. So like my default is either freaking out in I want to punch something, or
Yeah.
I do bits. And so I just did bits because it made him laugh. And
Yeah.
but watching that clock on that wall, I was like, boy, I can just sit here and watch that clock like move, and I'm not doing anything because I'm in this space. But like, you don't want time to go too fast, but you also want it to go super fast. So whatever it is you're in right now can just be 10, 15 days past.
Oh, that's because
It's just so, it's
the advice that you get from medical professionals a lot is we need to wait and see. Let's see how this goes. Let's
Which
like,
I did not know that. I
each
thought it would be
moment
like
to the next.
Let me do
is-
50 tests on your arm. We'll know everything in 2 hours. That's what I thought it was.
We just have to wait and see how you react to this drug or this medicine
Yeah.
or this procedure or whatever, so we can move on to the next thing. But it is, you don't know that stuff. I always remark, and I thank God for nurses because they really like
Oh my God.
ease your brain and calm you down because they're real people in moments where you just need them to be like grounded and
Yeah.
like sane, because none of it makes sense to you. None of it like you
must-
can
yeah.
track. You have nothing, very little in your past experience to like let you know how this works. But thank God they're normal, because for everybody else, and God, I had an ER doctor when my dad was sick, like hit on me, and I was like, "This is insane."
But
This
thank
is
you so much
yeah.
because I've really been, I've been.
God, I am much younger than
Yeah,
you. I
thank you so much.
appreciate that.
This is
But I mean,
embarrassing.
like, he was a little like flirty, and I was like,
Yeah.
"This is the weirdest moment of my whole life. Like,
Right.
this is okay."
Was
for,
this when your dad was really, really sick?
Yeah,
Like,
it was like in and out of like the hospital a lot. And so I was like, this isn't casual for me. I can't have a
know.
normal, funny conversation with you. Like, I can't do that. But it's nice that you have like nurses are they get that.
Yeah.
They understand that, and then they can talk to you casually and calmly,
Yeah.
not in like the vernacular that doctors use. Sometimes you get a great doctor that can just talk to you in like common terms, not all
Yeah.
like medical terminology, but it's just nice to have somebody there who's like, this is normal and this is okay.
Yeah.
And I've seen this before kind of thing.
Yes, and I felt like as we were going through all of this and the doctors would come in with more information, the day before his surgery was the worst because there was a couple moments where I didn't know what it was going to look like when I got on the plane home. But then literally within a 24-hour span, things had gotten better. The prognosis was better and we had a plan, and like as long as everything went according to plan, he was going to leave that hospital, which was like the thing that was so hard to bear was the not knowing
That's why you got to go. You got to be there to see for your own eyes and hear from the doctor.
But let me tell you how many people, mostly my parents, told me not to come. And it's that thing that we do where, or at least I'll just say it, my parents love to do, where they're like, and my mother-in-law does this too. I don't want to bother you. I don't want to inconvenience you. But simply by doing that, you inconvenience me and you bother me. Like, don't tell me I can't go be with you when you're as sick as I've ever known you.
Yeah.
And like, God forbid if something were to happen and I didn't go, what was I going to do? Go, Jen's going to have a honey baked ham.
Yeah.
Like
it was inconvenient.
It's inconvenient for me to I finally told my mom, who kept saying like, you don't need to hurry. I go, and getting very different reports from my siblings who were like, this isn't good. And my mom kept saying that. I go, you know what? You can just say thank you. I'm going to come in. I'm going to go to the hospital. I'm going to be next to him. I'm going to go home with you. I'm going to take care of you. You don't have to say, don't come, because that's pissing me off.
Yeah.
But like, you can just be happy that I'm here. And then she was.
Yeah.
The second I got there, she was. And it was, I will say, the whole situation was stinky and terrible. But, every cloud has a silver lining. And my mom and I had really nice, solid mother-daughter time at night. In the houses, she's got it decorated for Christmas. And so we were able to, you can't be mired down by it the whole day. Otherwise you won't be able to function for that person. So I just tried to put one foot in front of the other, take care of him when I could, go home, be with my mom, wake up the next day, do that. I did that for 4 or 5 days. And then finally when he had his surgery, I was like, I'm going to fly home and try to hit Thanksgiving for 2 hours. And that was a much better flight on the way home.
Oh,
and then I got here. I was literally had been up since 4 a.m., but just being here felt like, okay, good.
You're not going to feel at all at ease until you see with your own eyes, like I said, that he's okay. And your brain's going to be there. So your body might as well be there too, because you can be helpful if you're there. You can't. All you can do is you're going to get into a frenzy with the distance. It's 1,500 miles away.
It's hard.
They don't answer the phone. You're going to worry. But you're there and you can see he's okay right now. We can laugh and just be normal for a little bit and get through moment to moment. But
I agree.
It's such a weird learning curve, and it's a part of
life.
Just getting older. It's when our friend passed away a couple weeks ago, I was like, man, the most shocking thing is you're like, oh, I'm the adult all of a sudden. I gotta make this adult decision, which is no, I'm coming, or no, I'm doing this thing. Because I've always looked to this older person that was going to make this decision about what the right thing to do is, but you become the parent. You have to start telling your dad to take his medicine. You have to start saying, no, you're going to go to this doctor's appointment. You're going to do this. It switches, and it's a weird fucking thing. It's
I believe too, and not to get too heavy, but I think that
everybody's dealing with it.
It really is.
And part of it is ridiculous that you have a boomer just acting like a
ginger ale, chest pains. I'm gonna take a fucking ginger ale. If that's not boomer 101, I don't know what the fuck is. I'm like, you think that's gonna do it, Dewey? You think that's gonna do it? You don't have indigestion, my friend. A chest pain is not indigestion. Or if it is, let's just go ahead and use the 60 years that you've been paying into insurance to just settle the bet and make
I
sure.
should have been buying stock in ginger ale.
Ginger ale. Like,
all
you know
this
what? I'll
time.
solve all acute, like major medical problems is ginger ale. They should be giving that shit out at the hospitals.
No shit.
That is not how it
the
works,
average
Dewey.
lifespan would be like 98.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, the thing that I realized in all of this is that I have been a little bit salty to my parents in the last, I would say year and a half. I've been more easily frustrated, and I've been a little bit not snotty. I'm never disrespectful to them, but like I think frustrated is the best word. Just frustrated with certain things, and then I realized what that is I was just a little bit mad at them because they're getting older.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I don't want them to do that.
That's very introspective.
Well, because when I went home, I was like clearly they didn't want to tell me everything because this story has so many places for judgment. In all fairness, like chest pains and ginger ale, or the fact that he was barfing for 2 days and he goes, and my mom was like, I think it's the flu. And I was like, any chance that you went to the doctor and actually got a flu test just to rule out that it could be something else?
Also, FYI, vomiting is a sign of a cardiac event.
Yeah.
So.
Like, is there any chance that anything I say will make a shit of difference? And I really don't think there is. But I realized.
Hey, grandparents, spend less time on eBay looking at die-cast cars and things. Spend a little bit more time on WebMD. Okay, that is my.
That's the irony. My mom is on WebMD all the time. I wanted to put like child locks on it because she looks at it too much and everything, is going to end up in a tumor. And I'm like, all right, you stop diagnosing yourself. You don't know. Like, this is just bad in every direction. But the cavalier nature of being like, it's fine. I'm like, no, you're not. Your arm's not supposed to fall off.
Yeah.
You're literally not fine. But I realized in that moment, I was like, I have a lot of, and I've talked about it before, I have a lot of fear of death. I have a lot of fear of life passing by and regret and just all of it. I feel very scared of that, and seeing them get older is an indication that time is passing. And like, I don't want to lose them,
God, no.
They're the most important to me. So when I saw my dad sick, obviously I was very emotional, but I would like go do that sort of thing by myself. But I was like, Kristin, this is a moment for you to have an about face and just go in being a little bit nicer. Like, recognize that the time has come when their age is going to be a factor in just simply things, like simple things, little things. Yeah. And it's fair that it's frustrating.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
It's fair.
Let's take all the multi-levels of, parent-child dynamics, how much we need them, love them, are scared of them leaving us. Let's put that on a shelf, and let's address that they can be irritating because as they age, they get irritating.
That's true.
They really do. It's like they get so set in their ways. They get so like set in beliefs that don't exist, that aren't real. And like it's really hard and frustrating to deal with.
Yeah.
And all of us, if your parents are of a certain age, you have a conversation with them or they have a conversation with the kids. And as soon as they leave the room, you're like, disregard pretty much all of that. Yeah. No, none of that is, yes, they have good sound sage advice, but some of it is just,
age getting the better of them a little bit sometimes.
It is okay. It's okay. I mean, like, listen, nobody wants you. There's a reason there's not a lot of Formula One drivers that are in their late 70s because some of it is not happening as quickly. The reaction, the synapses, and God, we love you for it. Wait and see what I look like. I'm getting there early, I can tell you.
The longest drive of my life was not because my dad was on death's bed from my mother's house to the hospital. It was because my mother was in the passenger seat. Literally, she was like, Kristin, I don't know why you have to drive so fast. I'd slow it down. You know what? You can get a ticket for driving too slow.
BT Dubs does not drive fast. You don't drive fast.
You drive fast. My mother
I drive fast.
No, but my mother would be in the car with you and be like, well, aren't you don't you have a good sense of urgency? But with me, it's like, just like literally note after note after note after note. Like, and I'm like, the whole city of Lincoln you can get from
Yeah.
A to B in 11 minutes. So that was an 11-minute drive to the hospital. And I've never felt like time went slower than when I was actually in the hospital. Like my mother's notes while driving. And, then my sister's there and my brother's there.
Let's pile it on. All of it. Yeah.
That's another dynamic. Just siblings also being scared and being together. But I did think we handled it all. We did things in shifts, and some days were unexpectedly longer than others. But like, I just want to know, like, I think the big thing is like, you should look around and be like, oh, they want to be here. Like, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Like that in itself.
Meaning like you wanted to be there?
I wanted to be there. My brother wanted to be there. My sister wanted to be there. And like, we know we're really annoying at Brian East. We're loud. We bring a lot of energy into the room, and I think it's nervous energy, but we did.
Yeah, and fair enough also to aging people out there. Like, we don't get any easier to tolerate just because your children are still as annoying as they ever were.
Right.
Probably more so because they think they know better. Like, it just gets worse. I get it. You like pile all these like family dynamics together, and it's like literally survival of the fittest.
Well,
I mean, it's like,
and there is a thing like when you get older, or like at least for my parents who are, my mom is in her is only 71 and my dad is 75. And to me right now, that feels very young.
Yeah.
Like not young, but it feels like you're still traveling at those ages. Like,
yes.
So I guess what I'm saying is like physically they're those ages. Like they're both in pretty good health and shape. And my mom is, loves to do yoga 4 times a week. So they're fit.
Yeah.
And my dad he'll have to change his whole diet, which is not a terrible thing because he enjoys bacon on bacon. Anything that can be bacon, a little flourish of bacon, Dewey Hensley is on board with.
Sooner or later, we all have to. And it is like a testament to how healthy he is, because at his age, like a lot of people have their gallbladder out in their 40s. Yeah.
I know.
So like this is his first like major
really
health event.
Knockwood.
Yeah, that's great.
It is. I worry that this is sort of like, there's all those thoughts. Like, is this the beginning of something bigger? Is it, what do things look like ahead? And like for my brain and for my heart, I try not to go into the sad stuff. I'm like, all right, so what does this look like now? Like how do I set them up for success? How do I make sure that we see them more and like travel more? So we're going back for Christmas. We're going back. I will make a better effort to, have them come see us when we're on the road. If they're close, like to travel them, because I just want to know that like, as this moment has happened, I've learned from it and I'm trying to be more gracious with them, but fuck, man, like, no easy task. And also as they get older, like nobody wants to be told really what to do, right?
No.
And you certainly don't want someone to disrupt your life in your, like, as my mother likes to call it, fourth quarter.
Terry.
Honestly, since she was
not 75
my
yet.
Mom has been talking about her death my entire life. So I wonder if there's something there to
Any correlation to your worries?
Like how she'd be like, kids, we're going to go on a family vacation. Now, Kristin, your dad and I are going to go on a trip with just each other, which we haven't done since our honeymoon. Now, listen, I'm leaving you with the babysitter, Angie, for 4 days. If our plane goes down in a fiery burning hole.
You mean Angie and her boyfriend?
Yeah, Angie and her boyfriend, Truth. Then I want you to take this envelope to this lawyer in town, and they will. And I'm like sobbing at the idea.
Yeah.
But I think my mom was like, I just wanted to see if you would be sad.
Wanted to see if you cared.
If I cared.
What kind of
Like, let's
reaction
see.
you'd get.
So now I'm just like she'll say stupid shit like, gosh, I just love my Ford Edge. It's probably going to be my last one. And I'm like, oh, really? Because your lease is your lease and your car's lease expiring at the same time? Because that's amazing, I
Wow.
hope your lease doesn't go out before your lease goes out, because that would suck. You'd have a car that nobody drives.
Yeah. No,
Boy, Terry, life is hard.
Becoming clear on why you worry about this stuff. I think it's the pieces are, but it's crazy to me how much, like I told you a couple weeks ago, I was having this conversation with my son where he was saying, he's learning how to deal with people. He has friends and whatnot. And he was like, I have this friend that's this way. And he said, I really feel guilty because I wish they weren't that way.
Yeah.
And I go, that's fine.
That's fine.
Fair. You don't tell them
it's
that.
also very, very honest.
Yeah, I go, you don't tell them that because that's what they are. They can't help that.
Yeah.
But life isn't clean. It's not easy.
And it's not easy. It's not easy. If it's easy, you have had, like, you need to shake it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's not black and white. It's not clear cut. So like, yes, like you're going to have new, like maybe you've like mastered a dynamic with your parents. And I'm not talking about you. This is me
I know.
imploding as I look inward. But like the early relationship I had with my mom or my dad, say I had mastered, in
their demands
in my
because you were
adulthood.
young.
Yeah, but I figured out how to deal with those. The set that they bring now is new that I'm having to deal with.
Exactly. Which I do think, like, there's no reason for me to do this alone. I am going to go talk to somebody because I'm like, I do need a little guidance here. I don't think it has to be as alone, like feeling like everything's so dreadful. Like there can be beauty to this time. And I'm making it sound like death is like around the corner, but you don't know. You don't know. And
but also not everything means death. I mean,
not everything
a lot
means
of
death, but it does
means that like the forefront
pain.
of okay, also you went there. Okay, but it's not. Everything about aging isn't just that much closer to death. You can look at it that way on the spectrum.
Yeah.
But it's also like your health is your number one priority as you age. We take it so for granted for so long.
And a lot what you do now is going to determine how you feel then. Let me tell you.
Get a wake-up call that says, I got to start taking care of my health.
You better do it.
Your priority has to shift. It has to be. God love Terry for doing yoga 4 times a week because it's going to keep her alive and healthy for a long time.
She's been doing balance exercises for like literally the last decade. She's like, everybody up during a commercial break because balance is so important in your later years. I'm like, you're 38.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not saying that's not annoying, but we got to do it.
No,
yeah.
You're right. And you know what? It was a good wake up call for me too. It was like, am I taking care of myself? Where am I at? Like, what is my day to day? Like, it just makes you very introspective and you want to do better and feel better. But like you see your parents, like their bodies change and like the way they walk changes a little bit. And you see like they've got different kinds of aches and bumps and pain and you don't want that for them. And then you're just like, it's like you said, it's all uncharted territory. So sometimes I feel very vulnerable and like a little girl watching like a thing unfold. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to do right now. I don't know what to do with this information. I feel, like a little bit more in the know now. And I feel like it was just a good moment for me to take stock in how I'm treating them and be a little bit more patient. I try, which is fucking really hard, by the way, because look at me right now. I'm already frustrated with
but
my dad got home and was mad about his situation and ripped up his aftercare file.
Take that
I was like,
back
if
together, you better.
If you fucking drink ginger ale and think that's going to solve the problem, I will take your
put that
ass
through
back
a shredder, and I'm going to put it back together. I do
Yeah.
crosswords. There's no way.
Exactly. At one point, I looked at him and I said, "I go, you can be mad at me if you want, but you're going to do the work.
Yeah, that's
you can
fine.
be mad at me."
This is what I was going to say. And, for all the moms out there, for everybody, thank God for matriarchs. That's, we do, because here's the thing. It's the matriarch that keeps the family together. It's the matriarch that like keeps
She's
everyone
saying
connected.
a mom because I had to think about it for a second. I was
Yeah, I'm talking about all you badass moms and all you women out there. And by the way, what's happening now is you're becoming the family matriarch. You're going to tell your brother and sister, you got to take care of them while I'm gone. I'm coming. Like, you're in charge. You're getting a big sister again. But it's like, you're going to have to do that for your mom. And, like, it's not your mom anymore. She doesn't have the energy. She doesn't have
and it's a
gotta
big
take care of
job
herself,
when someone is resistant to the advice given by
But that's
medical
who does
professionals.
It. That's who does it.
I know you're right.
Anytime, like, a friend of mine, like, God forbid, like, loses a mother or something like that, I'm like, you got to step up now. Because if you don't do it, Dad's not doing it. No, it's the woman. It's you become this, like...
My dad would drive through a Taco John's in 15 seconds. I'd be like,
That's-
get that Amigos out of your hand, sir.
I tell my husband all the time, I go, God love, Ken's wife, Marion,
Yeah.
who not only is such a machine in the kitchen, as I
But
mentioned
she really
earlier,
does take very good care of him.
She takes such good care of him. That guy would be face down in a pile of
Yes.
pizzas and Cabernet if it were up to him.
100%.
But there's no, but you need
You need
strong
someone,
mother
you need
energy.
structure, and that mother is that structure. And I will say this, I was reticent to post about what was going on with my dad, but because you and I have always agreed to be sort of like transparent about what's going on in our lives, obviously, that I wanted, and I also believe in prayer, like I believe in like that energy. I was like, well, if now is not the time, I don't know what is. So I did post about it, and I was so touched by all the comments and people willing to share that, you know, they had gone through something similar or worse, or what it was like to be a caregiver, and I felt like, man, there's a lot of shit in the world, but I had a moment where everything was so kind that I felt better about the world. In my saddest moment, I literally felt like, hey, the world is a nicer place, which could have gone, you know, another direction. So I really am grateful to all of you who commented. It was incredibly kind. And
Yeah, that should be our mom box. Thanks to everybody.
To all the women.
For all the prayers you said and all the kind messages and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And literally people who were like, I live 2 hours away. What do you need, a grocery store run or
I'll
whatever?
just, you know what? I'm 6 hours out, but I'm going to be there to make you lunch, and I'm going to head back.
You know what? I've been meaning to
Yeah, I've
check
been
out
meaning
the
to
new
go to Costco.
infrastructure on the way.
Yep.
So let me do that for you.
I will tell you this. This is really funny. My dad's doctor, the internist who removed the gallbladder, he was really nice, and I thought he was really.
Was he cute?
He was
Sorry,
totally
I'm
cute. So I kept
thinking about
trying
my
to.
situation.
I was trying to think about if my sister. I was like, let's just see. Like, he's hanging out with friends. You never know. She's
I
like,
know, Megan.
she's so
Go
mortified.
comb
She's
your
like,
hair,
please
Megan.
stop. She's like, please stop. And I was like, you don't know. Like, if he's like local to Lincoln, he could have some friends.
That's
and she's
right.
like literally almost starting to cry. She's like, this is not the time. And I'm like, isn't it? Like,
It's
isn't
the
this
time.
It's the
Yeah.
time. Like,
Feels-
okay.
And
So
you never know when the good time is.
look,
so
he
you just
said
gotta-
my dad isn't going to be out of surgery for an hour. There's a lot of ground to cover in an hour.
I'm
of your
not saying
dating
go
life.
bark up the surgeon while
I'm just
he or
saying
she's in there.
his friends are probably pretty successful
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So he was really nice, and as we were talking, he's got the mask on and I've got my mask on, and we were in the lobby of the waiting room. My dad had just come out of surgery and had to wait an hour before we could see him. So he was going through the surgery, and it wasn't good. It was about just how bad. He also had infections in his stomach, and those were not clearing very easily. So
Yeah.
the internist was concerned. So he's giving us some pretty dark information, but the surgery had gone well. So
Yeah.
that I felt good about. I was like, okay, in my head that was the thing. And gallbladders are so common, but that was all the other things around it that I was like, okay, one thing at a time. Okay, that was good. So now what? So
Yeah.
the doctor's talking to me, and I'm really listening. And then he started to get kind of graphic about some of the stuff. And I was like, and my sister goes, you might have to direct this at me because she'll pass out. And I was like, you don't know. And
Womp,
yeah, I was like,
womp, womp. There she goes.
yep.
Yeah.
My sister really wanted to say is like, what she's gonna do is make this about her. Hold on. And I was like, yeah. Hold on. And then he's like, why? What do you do? And I just didn't know how to sum it up. So I was like, well, I'm a comedian. And he literally dropped everything, and he was like, oh my God, are you my mom so hard? And I go,
Hilarious.
I started laughing in a weird way, like uncomfortable. And I was like, yes. And he goes, I sent my wife and her 4 friends to your show at the Orpheum. It was so great. And then he got real casual. He's like, enough about Dewey. So what brings you back? I'm like,
Oh my God.
just my dad.
Dewey. Yeah,
just my dad.
Actually, let's get back to
Let's get back to
Dewey.
Dewey. Actually,
Yeah.
I didn't. I was like, go on. I could use the pep talk.
She's
also,
single.
do you have any
Yeah.
single friends at your
Yeah.
barbecue?
Oh, your wife.
Oh, my
okay.
sister's bawling. Sorry. Let me make it about her real quick.
Yeah. Sorry, that sister dynamic never goes
good.
away.
Never
Yeah.
goes away.
Yeah.
So I was very grateful. Like, it was very funny and like kind of brought some levity to a much needed moment of how weird the world is. And I was like,
know-
yeah, cool.
I have a selfie with my mom's bladder surgery team, so it's not. It just it is. It happens. I know.
It's a weird thing, but how cool. So the long story is the shorter story of this long story is that he's in recovery.
Thank God.
It's day to day. He's doing all right. It's not even the first. Are we even at a week out? I think surgery-wise, we're probably just right now. And so when this
Yeah.
podcast comes out, we'll be even further down the pike, which I feel like I will be happy about. So getting older, man, it ain't easy.
No, it's not. We're going to fight it tooth and nail.
I mean, I'm going to fight the way it looks tooth and nail. I'm like,
Oh, that's what I was referring to.
oh, okay. Because I'm like, gallbladder, take it, but stretch my wrinkles around my face so they don't happen.
Oh my God, my neck, you guys. I don't want to.
I know. Look, as I sit here and I'm like, oh, my shoulder's really starting to go. Yeah. And then we're just those people talking about ailments.
Oh, isn't that funny that there's some like very young moms listening to our podcast right now that are like,
what the fuck is wrong with them?
People are annoying.
Right?
It's incredible. Wow.
Do you think they're like this? They just don't see themselves.
We don't. I don't, and I won't. And
I won't.
can
I
tell you
don't.
right
And guess
now,
what?
Because
Guess who's gonna next? Like rip up her like rules for post surgery. This lady, like I'm fully aware
she's
that
like,
I'm on the
hold
doing
on.
track.
I'm going to make a statement here.
Yep.
Rip.
You guys,
rip,
I have
rip.
chest pains, and I'm gonna suck back this ginger ale.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. What do you say? Do you think we podcasted?
I think we podcasted,
I think
you
we
guys. Did we
podcasted.
podcast?
I think we did.
Well, cheers to Dewey.
Yes. Cheers to all of you out there. I know that not everything is easy. And if you have parents who are getting up there in years, and if you think that's in the 50s, that's not what we mean, because how dare you?
Yeah, you're never going to put those mothering skills away. You're just going to reuse them in a different direction.
They might you might let off the gas a little bit, but then you're going to ramp right back up in. So get ready.
Yeah.
Go moms.
Have fun.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.